Well, Gavin, such an important victory on Tuesday against Barrow. Have you noticed a change in mood around the club since then from the players?
I think I've noticed a change in the 2 weeks that we've been here. I think the win helps, of course. Everybody feels a lot better, but understands that the job certainly isn't done by any means, anywhere near. So we've had a conversation this morning about being focused and making sure that our attitude and application is at its highest. But I think over the 2 weeks, that win came off the culmination of all of that work as opposed to just from the night. So yeah, the players have been brilliant. We've had a real good buy-in. I'm really pleased that we got that win, but it's only one step closer to sort of many steps, if you like.
It sets you up nicely for this interesting sequence of home games, doesn't it? Notts County on Tuesday. First of all, the focus firmly on Swindon Town, who are having such a good season. What are your thoughts about taking on Swindon? Yeah,
well, they're, like you say, they're a very big club at this level and a very, very good team with excellent management staff. So we're going to have to be at our best. You know, we've got to hope that we're at our best and that we can stifle them. We're going to have to be really patient. We're going to have to be really focused and concentrating in and out of possession. But yeah, make no mistake, they're a top team at the level. They're very expansive, and we're going to have to be at our best in and out of possession to be able to hurt them.
And how nice for you to be pitting your wits against such an experienced football manager as Ian Holloway.
Yeah, I'm actually me and my family QPR fans, so as a kid used to go and watch him down at Loftus Road quite a lot, and that big baggy shirt he used to wear. But yeah, it's obviously as well, you know, seeing him over the years, he's got, is it 1,000 games now under his belt as a manager, and how charismatic he is. You know, he's a guy who's obviously been there, seen it and done it. So yeah, this is why I've been working extra hard this week, making sure that we've got everything that we need to be able to be equipped for what it is that they're going to offer. Because, you know, make no mistake, they're a very, very good team. They're on a very, very good run. But we're also in a good place. And there's a lot more belief in the camp. So, look, we're going to have an incredible day, be the best version of ourselves. If we do that, I've got no doubts we can go and do something positive on the day.
Let's work our way through the injury list if we can. Let's begin with Sam Stubbs, who's missed the last couple of matches. What's the situation with Sam, and is he close to being back?
Yeah, Stubbsy's just got a problematic knee, something that's been a bit of an issue down for quite a while now. We have to be really careful with him and just manage that. But obviously it's important to keep him in and around the group. It's important that we try and manage him best we can. So look, at this stage in the season, we're going to need everybody. So making sure that everybody's fit is our priority. So the focus isn't just making sure that he's healthy and ready to play games. So you know, he looks in a really good place today. So we're excited to see if he's going to be available at the weekend.
Sam Clucas, who missed out in midweek, how's he getting on?
Yeah, still sort of ongoing really, hamstring problem, so not as bad as we first thought, so we're really pleased about that. But yeah, just managing it day to day, but we've got to be really careful with hamstrings and muscles in particular.
Could that be a while? Have we got a time scale as such for Sam?
No, nothing at the moment. We don't think it's going to be as long as another couple of weeks, so you know, we're really focused on making sure that we're just every day getting him the best recovery possible and the best rehab possible, which, you know, we have a brilliant team here, so we're really happy with that.
And what about John Marquis?
Yeah, John's now he'll be taking up his second scan today. It looks like a medial ligament in his knee, which isn't ideal. He's been brilliant for us since we've been in here. And again, but being the leader that he is, he's in and around the group this morning already, and you know, he's being that leader off the pitch, which is what we're going to need. But yeah, on the pitch, we're probably not going to see him for quite a few weeks now.
That's a blow, isn't it? Because you have you picked him in all of your starting 11 so far, haven't you?
Yeah, I think, you know, the things that some people don't see is the leadership, you know, and the dedication to the players in the club. I think John's amongst other players, you know, like the Boyleys of the world and Ando and Ruffs, like they're very vocal in and around the place and making sure that the players, you know, are following procedure and making sure that, you know, we've got order around the place, and that's important to have your senior players, and they've all bought in, you know, Cluey as well. They've all bought into what it is that we're trying to do. So. Yeah, having him about is massive, but you know, on the pitch, you know, he's a real leader. You know, he affects other players. So yeah, it's going to be a blow for us. You know, it's not great when you look about how we've had injuries. You know, Sam Stubbs, you know, Sam Clucas, and now John Marquis. It's yeah, it's tough, but look, no one's going to feel sorry for us. So we've just got to we've got a healthy squad in terms of size. So they need to step up now, and that's where it needs to be. You know, there's no feeling sorry for ourselves. We've got to work as hard as we can as a staff to make sure those players come back. And in the meantime, the players that are going to get their opportunity need to show, that they want to be a part of this football club and win football matches for us.
When John Marquis did go off early on Tuesday, George Lloyd came on and played a pivotal role, didn't he? You might say in the outcome. I think he was involved heavily throughout, wasn't he? Really occupied at the Barrow backline. How pleased were you with his contribution?
Yeah, he was excellent. I thought they were all excellent. I thought Ewan Morgan was excellent, and they got very different, skill sets. But ultimately, what we're asking them to do is, hard work, desire, do a job and a half, and then there's a game strategy in place, and they both played it to a T, exactly how we wanted it. So that's why we came out with the result. We often say to the players, look, this is what we want you to do. If you do it, we'll get success. If you don't, we won't. And what's good about being 2 weeks in now is we've got a body of work that we can show the players, and we can show them examples from the last 3 games of how we're progressing and how we can be better. And I think, again, at the top of the conversation, I said about how I felt like the win against Barrow wasn't just the night's work, it was the culmination of 2 weeks of the players progressing from being particularly defensive to then progressing it into the opposition's half, and then, finally the final third. So people were willing to get hurt and to be brave in that box, and that's why you saw us get the 2 goals and get the deserved win.
How difficult is it as a manager, a head coach, when you're not picking certain players? There's a few players who haven't been involved in. I appreciate you can't pick everybody. You're limited to 18 on a match day, but there's a few players that haven't featured in a match day squad as yet. How are those players getting on? I'm thinking of Isaac Lee and Temple, Ojanaka, Isaac England, Callum Stewart's another one. How are they all getting on?
Yeah, it's tough. I think the only thing you can do as a manager, and when I finished playing myself, I said that if I ever go into management, all I want is honesty, because I've had some brilliant managers who have been more than honest, and sometimes brutally honest, but I've had managers as well that lie through the back teeth. So look, the best thing to do with players is be honest with them, because then there's no grey area. They might not like it, but they respect it. And I think we're honest with all of the players. With Isaac England, he's had a setback, a bit of an injury. Isaac is certainly a hot prospect for us for the future. We're in a relegation battle at the moment, so we know what we need to improve on with him. But he's injured at the moment, but he's, make no mistake. I mean, my first couple of days, I wanted more from him. Since then, he trained so well just before he got injured. And really showed us, why at 17 years old he's in and around the first team. He's a real class act. So we've got real high hopes for him. Temple's been the victim of the loans, really. He's he's very dynamic. He's versatile. We wanted him on the bench the other night, really, but the loans, with the way we felt the game was going to go, we weren't so sure. But having too many loans really has stifled that. So he's probably closer to starting than he actually is being in the squad. Isaac Lee, again, more so development. Isaac's sort of come into this environment and he needs to learn. There's certainly a talent there. There's lots of ability, but there's areas that he needs to improve on. And he knows that. As a part of this season is, yes, of course, if he's to be called up, we want to utilise him. But a big part of this is really preparing him and working as hard as we can to make him as dynamic as we possibly can going into next season. And the other one, Cal Stewart. Yeah, Cal Stewart at the moment, we feel like he needs games. I feel like he needs games. I had him at Brackley, obviously. Real talent, loads of skill set, goal scorer. In terms of him developing, he needs football matches, because he just needs to learn that football IQ. And this is something I spoke to him about. And when he starts to understand the strategy a little bit more, as opposed to just relying on his own skill set, we've got something there that we feel like we can build on. But we'd like him to get games. At the moment that hasn't happened, so he's in the building. So it's great for me to utilise, and he is an incredible lad. He's the one that you want characters like him around, you want people like him around, but that's not going to aid his development. And we need to make calculated decisions on how we want these players to contribute to the club. So yeah, just the big thing, and the answer to your question is being honest with the players is the biggest thing.
No goalkeeping coach appointed as yet. I don't think so anyway. How's that coming along, the search for a new goalkeeper?
Yeah, really well. As I'm sure everybody can appreciate, it takes processes. There's serving notice and one of those things. So yeah, it's all in place. We're just waiting for sort of time, really. Time is just going to have to elapse for us to be able to announce that. But as it does, we're excited about the prospect of bringing certain people in. So yeah, logistics behind the scenes. I understand that people are quite eager to find out who it's going to be and when it's going to happen, but ultimately you just have to trust us. It's all in place, and we're just waiting for time and other people, and we're just trying to do things with dignity and a little bit of integrity. So what we don't want to do is do anything untoward. We want to respect not only our own football club but other football clubs as well. So yeah, that'll be announced in good time.
And for you, Gavin, a couple of weeks now, you've been here as head coach with Jamie Haynes and David Edwards alongside you. How are you enjoying the challenge, embracing the challenge of leading the football club?
It's a whirlwind within a whirlwind, I'd say. I think, I was certainly in a very, very good place at my previous club, Brackley. Brilliant people, fantastic football club, excellent infrastructure that we'd created over 2.5 years. So I know that we'd had approaches from other football clubs that, I was really locked in with what we were doing. But when obviously Shrewsbury come calling, everyone will know that, it's a club that I'm going to find very difficult to turn down. And what's needed here is, leadership on and off the field. It's someone to bring everybody together, and you can't do that if people don't want to come together. If there's people out there who are just dead set on being negative and dead set on, not being able to see the wood through the trees, it's going to be a tough task. But I believe there's a lot of amazing people around the football club who can, make their voices heard and drown out any negativity. And I think the fans can drown out any negativity as well, like they did the other night. I think someone had said to me, Joe Massey, said to me about how he hadn't seen people stay behind and clap the players for quite some time. I'm not sure if that's the case, but it certainly felt good. It felt good to see everybody want to be a part of it, and everybody, listen, I know it's a win and everybody gets emotional with wins, but I just think we want to get the club back to the way I remember it, and that's everybody pulling in the same direction. That of course there's going to be, I don't go on social media, but I'm sure there's people on the social media who, whether you win, lose or draw, there's going to be something negative to say. All I can do is reassure everyone that we are literally working night and day, working our backsides off to try and get it right on and off the field. In all areas, we're trying to do it with honesty and integrity, with some loyalty and trust. We didn't have to come here, we took a big risk coming here, but ultimately that risk is a calculated one where, I feel like there's good energy around the place if you can really draw it out, and that's what we've seen the last 2 weeks. I think the training ground's a completely different place, a lot of buy-in, a lot of structure, a lot of loyalty around the place, a lot of sort of integrity between the lads. And it's been good to see it evolve. It's my privilege and pleasure to be here, working with everybody who I can see just working so hard. And now we just really need to get everybody swimming in the same direction. Fans, hierarchy, and players and management staff. It's important that we all stand together, because the last 16 games are going to be massive. So it isn't going to be in straight lines. There's going to be a few bumps in the road. But yeah, trust me, we're giving it absolutely everything.
Thanks for your time, Gavin.
Thanks, mate.